AP News, 23rd of January 2024, a Chinese ship is granted port clearance by the Maldives. This action might escalate a conflict with India. Amidst a diplomatic confrontation between the tiny island nation and India, the Maldives administration announced on Tuesday that it has granted permission for a Chinese ship to dock in its port. Reports in the local media that the research vessel Xiang Yang Hong 3 was on its way to the Maldives were verified by the Maldives Foreign Ministry. There was no arrival date specified. According to a ministry statement, the Maldives government received a diplomatic request from the government of China for the necessary clearances to make a port call, for personnel rotation and replenishment. It stated that no research will be conducted while the ship is docked in the port of Malé. It stated, the Maldives continues to host civilian and military vessels making port calls for peaceful purposes. The Maldives has always been a welcoming destination for vessels of friendly countries. A diplomatic spat between the Maldives and its massive neighbor, India, coincides with the ship's arrival. The Indian government did not respond right away. The argument erupted after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared images of himself strolling and snorkeling on social media in the Indian atoll of Lakshadweep, which resembles the Maldives Islands. The pristine sand beaches of Lakshadweep, according to the Indian government, have unrealized tourism potential. Some in the Maldives believed Modi was using the action to draw tourists away from the island nation's well-known beaches and resorts. 3 deputy ministers insulted Modi on social media, prompting calls in India for an Indian boycott of the Maldives. The conflict intensified after President Mohamed Mutsu of the Maldives traveled to China, India's neighbor, and announced plans to remove his small country's reliance on India for imports of staple foods, medications, and healthcare services. India accounted for the lion's share of visitors to the Maldives last year. Mutsu stated that China had been setting the standard before the COVID-19 outbreak and that efforts would be made to double the number of Chinese visitors. In a subliminal jab at India, he also stated that China had paid more in bribes and that the Maldives' territorial integrity was firmly respected by them, adding that the smaller size did not allow any other country the right to intimidate it. In the Indian Ocean nation of the Maldives, India and China compete with one another for influence. While China has cooperated with the Maldives in its Belt and Road effort to boost trade and power throughout Asia, Africa, and Europe, India views the Maldives as part of its sphere of influence. In favor of China, on a platform to remove Indian military soldiers stationed in the Maldives, Mutsu ran for government in November and won. After returning from China, he suggested that Indian officials meet and discuss withdrawing the soldiers by the middle of March. There are about 75 Indian military soldiers based in the Maldives. Mutsu charged that by permitting Indian personnel to work on Maldivian islands, the former government had compromised sovereignty. In the Maldives, the Indian military pilots planes and supports maritime rescue operations. Research ships cannot dock at Sri Lankan ports for a year. The action is believed to react to Indian worries over a Chinese ship scheduled to visit.